Hey there, everybody. It's Karl Isenburg and my trusty sidekick, Sherry Travers. Thank you for joining us on, I think this is our first recording of our weekly Wealth Series update, check-in, non-stressful. This, for all those of you that are doing the Wealth Series, you've been on Win, Make, Give. Sherry, what is um, uh, the web address for Win, Make, Give Wealth Series? So it's winmakegive.com/wealth. That's where if you're listening to this, you probably have your email because you probably are signed up for the Wealth Series. You probably got your email for Win Make Give with the links for the podcast and the links for the workbooks. But just in case you didn't, okay, it's winmakegive.com/wealth. This is free, guys. There's no hidden agenda. No one's trying to drive you crazy. No one's, it's just free. And the reason it's free is my business partner, Ben Kinney, came from nothing, less than nothing, grew up in poverty, no running water, lived in a cabin, challenging life environment with his parents. And he vowed himself as a small young man to never do that, never go through that again. So now he is financially free. He can do anything he wants. Okay, with whomever he wants, whenever he wants. Well, thankfully, he chooses to hang out in the real estate industry and partner with me, which is awesome. Okay, and he also wants to give back to those that maybe don't have the things that he has benefited from and learned from. And that's why he created this Wealth Series when COVID hit. And it was a huge success and really changed a lot of people's lives. And so he's updated this with Wealth Series 2. And the nice thing about this is self-paced. You can do this whenever you get around to it, right? Now, the key is I encourage you to do it now. It's January 2023. Do it now because guess what? Ben gives away a lot of money. And he gives it away to people that are taking his course, but he wants to make sure that you actually listen to the podcast and did the work. So there's a couple key questions that he shares in the podcast itself. So at the end of the class, he says, well, well, here are the questions. And do you want to, you have to fill out a piece of, you have to submit an entry that says it's not your personal financial information. It's just questions from the course. He wants to make sure you took the course. And if you took the course, then your name goes into a hat. Okay. And they randomly pick names and give money to those people. Is awesome. Sometimes it's not random. Like if you have a child, someone who is in school, and wants to learn about how to have a wonderful life and a successful, financially free life, he gives money away to those kids pretty much on a regular basis because he really, really, really wants to give back. And if you knew him as a person, you'd go, oh, he really is like that. There's no bullshit here, right? So anyway, just, first week, okay, was just the introduction. There was 2 podcasts that week. The first one was a introduction to talk about what wealth is, and to talk about what the series is and to give some background on Ben. The second podcast, which was a week ago yesterday, which is Friday, okay, and that was where they started talking about your it's a financial reality check. And it is not always the most fun exercise, but it's the critically important one that you do. And it is where you pull all your financial information, your checking accounts, your your bank statements, right? Your credit card statements, your mortgage statements, your auto payments. Where do you spend money? Like where are you spending your money, right? And you write down and you look at that list, your credit card statement, and however you spend your money, everyone's a little bit different, right? And then if it's I forget the color. I think it's green and yellow. Okay, and if it's green, if it's a necessary expense, you highlight it in green. I got to make my rent payment. I have got to make my mortgage payment. It's not a negotiable. Well, maybe I'll pay this. No, you have to do it. You have to buy food. You have to pay for electricity. You have to do certain things in life. I got to make my car payment. Those things have to happen. Okay. But there's other things that are optional. Like I went out to dinner. I didn't have to go out to dinner. I could have eaten at home and spent less money. I have to have shoes for my children. Yeah, but do I need a $5,000 wardrobe that I went out and bought? Probably not. Okay. Did I have to go on vacation? Well, maybe emotionally, yes. But in all reality, you still did it, but it was optional, right? You need to know what's your nut on necessary. It may not be fun and it may not be a really awesome existence, but to live, I got to spend this much money. Okay. But here's what I'm really spending so that you can see that number right there. Okay. It's critically important that you do that. And there's a workbook that he gives. I don't know if I showed this binder to you. I put it all in a binder. Every week when I get the workbook, I print out the workbook, hole punch it, put it in the binder. And I like to listen to the podcast while I'm going through because he'll ask questions. And then the homework, there's a homework question, which you want to write down, right? Because that's the key to when you go back at the end of this course to fill in your thing so that you can get credit and you can win money. But that's where you go through that financial checklist and, you ask your question. It was, wow, I didn't know I spent money on that. I mean, they're there. You probably say, I know everything. Well, bottom line, if you really study that stuff, you're going to say, wow, I forgot that I'm paying for that $4 thing a month. I forgot that I pay that other thing a month. And, the thing that's really interesting is studies have shown it's that regular and consistent. We always underestimate the power of small changes over time. Okay. We always want to make something big, make it huge, make this huge impact. But it's what we do on these in the little things on a regular and consistent basis. So that was what the financial check was. That was uh, a week last Friday, and then Monday, okay, what the homework was to go through the next one was to complete the expense tracker, okay, and complete your debt tracker so you know what you're paying, okay, and then what's my income, complete the income worksheet, and then good, I've done that, okay, and then you move to the next uh, uh, um, session, which was the beginning of last week, okay, which was part 3, okay, and part 3 was last Monday. Yeah, last Monday. Okay. And that's your assets and your net worth. Once again, a kind of a lot of heavy lifting in terms of figuring out your numbers, but what's an asset? An asset is your car, your home, personal property that you own. It's a question of what you could sell it for. You may have spent $500 on that amazing television, but if you were to go and sell it in a garage sale, how much could you get for it? Right? I don't know. That you have to figure that out. And your car, you may have bought it for this much money. you may owe more. Okay. But what could you sell that car for? Right? That's the worth of that vehicle. What is your home worth? Values go up and down, but as of today, right now, today, what do you think your home value is? Okay. The assets that you've got and the thing, how much cash do I have in the bank, in my pocket, under my bed? Where is it? Right? Gold, assets, jewelry. You have to figure out all the stuff that you own, and you have to have a realistic thing. If I was to liquidate it, what could I get for it realistically? Right? And so that's where you have your list of assets, you have your list of liabilities. You take your assets minus your liabilities, and you get your net worth. And he's got tools online, the network tracker and other tools that you can use. Just fill out the worksheet. But the bottom line is, what do I got? What is my net worth? And you know trust me, I've been there with a big number that had a negative sign in front of it as a net worth. And that is not fun, okay, at all. And the key is you don't want the negatives in your, you want positives, right? Because we only have so much time. We only have so much time, and we got to make certain that we take advantage of that time. And it doesn't matter where you are in your journey. You can be well along like myself and had, those of you that know me, certainly have had my challenges. Okay. Had great successes and devastating challenges. And the key is you got to get up and keep on going, and you got to put your plan together, and you got to make it work, and you got to be realistic about it. Okay. And you can't worry about what you can't do anything about. You got to let's worry about what am I going to do today? And one of the things you can do today is figure out, where am I? And that's what this is all about. And if you guys have any questions, if you have anything that you want to come up with, somebody asked a question in the chat. It says, what if you pay your credit cards off every month? Are those liabilities? Well, they were a liability when the credit card you owed it $2,000. As soon as you paid that credit card bill, it didn't become a liability anymore. That's the tricky part with, they call it a balance sheet. Because you can only figure this out in a particular snapshot in time. Or income you generate over, hey, this is how much money I made last month, and this is how much I spent last month. But at the end of that month, okay, you had this much money left in your checking account. Okay. The money left in your checking account is an asset. And that's why if your checking account is here and you had $2,000 in credit card money, okay, that you owed, once you paid the $2,000 off, you'd have less cash in your checking account. So it doesn't really matter, except that if you're going to track this every month, I'd make it simple by yourself. Look at when all your due dates are, and you can make some generalized assumptions. So you're not going through and reworking and, oh, wait, what do I have? What am I doing? You can make some assumptions because it's for your own purposes. If you always pay off all your credit card debt, then it's not a liability. Okay. And just track your expenses. Okay. And then it's easier that way. And then you're not stressing about it. But if you start carrying debt on credit cards, then you better start tracking it. And this is private information. No one needs to see this. On the other hand, finding someone who can be a partner with you, or someone that you can be accountable to. Maybe you meet once a quarter, maybe it's every month, but it could be a spouse, it can be a family member, it can be your best friend, but someone that is not going to spread your financial information to the world, but someone that you can talk about and ask questions of and kind of go through this together. It's very helpful, and that's why we're doing this, because this does not replace the awesome community in the Win Make Give Wealth series. There's tens of thousands of people in that, right? And I encourage you to be on that Facebook group, because if you're taking the Wealth series, you can get things from others. It's amazing. But I'm doing this because sometimes you have a question that you really don't want to, you don't want to put it out there to 10,000 people or 1,000 people. Maybe even don't even want to put it out to 5 people. You can private message me with a question. We can talk. I just want to encourage you to do this work. Do the work. Okay. Figure out your income. Figure out your expenses. Figure out how much I own. What is it worth? And figure out your liabilities. That's the baseline that you have to do to be able to figure out what to this whole course. It's step one. You got to do that. Okay. And from that, we can, the tools that Ben shows us through the next several weeks is going to really help you put a plan together, so that your life will be different in 5 years. In 5 years, you will be in a completely different place, a better place. And anyway, thanks for joining us. And even if I'm only personally talking to myself every week, by God, that's what we're going to do. Have a wonderful Saturday, and I'll talk to you soon.